All right, welcome back to another Coach.me conversation. Today, I'm excited to have Rob Filardo with us. And Rob, let's jump right in. I
Sure.
guess the first question that I love to ask and really that I'm curious about is how did you get started with coaching?
Well, to be honest, it wasn't something that I was really even that aware about until I ended up getting the opportunity to work remotely for my day job. So I started to look for opportunities. I had just come out of reading like the 4-hour work week, and I started to look, beyond with some more flexibility. What can I do to improve my life? So I started getting into self-development, and started just kind of going down that rabbit hole. And I found Lyft at the time, which is now Coach.me.
We're going
And I
old
was,
school now, yes.
yeah, it's very old school. So I've been, tracking my habits there. I started with just what I just wanted to go running in the middle of the day, in between my meeting blocks. And after a while, I started seeing what other people in the community were doing, and I picked up meditation. Uh, and I think one of the things that I guess would be a turning point for me was I wrote a blog post for Coach.me at the time about how meditation helped me be a better father. Uh,
Wow.
and I think, and this was probably a few months before coaching on the platform, before the company kind of pivoted to offer coaching. So when the time came when Tony and team were looking for coaches, I was asked to be part of that. I'm not sure if it was original, but part of that early group of folks from within the community who may not have ever coached before, but were familiar with the platform. And so that was, I just went out on a whim and said, sure, let's give it a shot. And here I am, multiple years later, so still doing it.
I look back, I think that was fall of 2013 or 2014 for us,
Yes,
wasn't it?
yes,
It's been a good while. Time flies when we're having fun. So neat. I'm excited. I thought we might have sort of had a similar path, and turns out that we do. So we were just habit nerds
yes,
that got that got invited to spread the love a little bit. So very cool.
absolutely.
So obviously to have stuck with it for this long, there's something about it that you enjoy. So why is it that you continue? And I think you still have other work
Yes.
as well. You balance a couple different things.
Yeah, and I feel like it really just fills a gap for me. Just meeting new people all the time, really around the world, is just fascinating, and feeling like I can offer some things that I may take for granted, or things that I've been doing. Like realizing that some of my skills are things that other people, can really help change their life, is something that I would have never really anticipated until I started having some of these conversations. And then once you have that feeling of fulfillment of being able to help other people in those, in some ways, uh, it really does become addictive. It becomes some of the best parts of my day, and best parts of the last few years have really been attributed to working with clients on the Coach.me platform, and just being able to realize that people are feeling a little bit more organized. Maybe they're meditating more, feeling a little bit less stressed, and they're reporting back and saying that it's really helped them.
Very cool. That's definitely my drug of choice too. I love
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
getting those messages that people tell me hey, my morning routine finally worked.
yes,
That's a cool
exactly.
moment. So do you have any particularly memorable client success stories of folks that really made a powerful journey?
Yeah, and I think this. I guess I can call him. I'll call him Gary. So I'll just give you a quick example. And the reason why he really stood out for me was because of the amount of action that he took, and in a short amount of time. Uh, so Gary started working for his father, running marketing for his father's business. But he realized, we had like a goals workshop, and after a while, he realized, he didn't necessarily want to keep going down the path that he was in. He kind of got swept into marketing. He was good at it, but it was really was looking for something more. Uh, so after we started working together, he started working, basically launching a side business. He built a website, and he started reviewing applications that, the intersection of technology and healthcare was really where he wanted to go. And so actually, Coach.me was one of the apps that he was, writing
Right,
about, and
right.
and meditation apps. And so I think the two of us really bonded over that, shared common interest. but just kind of encouraging him to continue that. And what he found by taking action and doing something on the side was that he realized he was really interested in design. And so he ended up really taking significant action, moving from New York to San Francisco after getting accepted into design school. And while he was at design school, his goals were refined yet again. He realized while he was there that he was really more into product management, with, it's still an inherent interest in design, but he felt like his skills were best suited there. And this was, I started working with him maybe the middle of last year. And so from then to now, he's a key role at a startup doing VR in healthcare. So what I love about this was that the original goals that he set when we first started working together are it's almost like he couldn't have anticipated where he ended up. But every time as we've worked together, he's kind of refined his goals. And it's the only reason why he was able to get closer to what he wanted was by taking action. So I would say, one thing that really stood out for me was that his ability to understand by taking action, he was getting closer to what he wanted. And that if he were to just kind of stay into a circular pattern of starting and stopping things, he may not have gotten the insight he needed to move forward.
Excellent. Excellent. So are there any particular or maybe one tools or exercises or, mental frameworks or anything that you could share that gives us some insights into how you have guided him maybe at a specific point in that journey?
Well, I think one of the key pieces that I've kind of learned from my own experience and also from working with clients is that when you set goals, sometimes there's a resistance to want to refine them, even when new information come into play. And also sometimes we can come up with the most elegant systems that are maybe pretty to look at, and maybe there's a lot of automation behind it. But in many cases, the more of a rocket ship you build, the harder it is mentally or more mentally expensive it is to maintain. And so one of the things I try to stress with clients is that if we don't keep something simple and straightforward, there's going to be less of a chance when motivation may dip to sustain it. And so what we try to do is really distill certain things into very, very systematic and repeatable actions that feel more automatic. It may not be something you've never heard before, but it's going to be something where you kind of know what it is, and it's easy to maintain. So I would say the combination of defining goals and getting it out of your mind, along with some next steps, and then having a repeatable weekly review, which I almost attribute it to almost like GPS, where it's like you have to have multiple, you have to like triangulate where you are. You have to look back a little bit, look forward a little bit, zoom out when you look at your goals, and then kind of zoom in as to what you're going to do the next day. That's really going to help move you forward, or how you're going to represent those goals. So something just as simple as that, and then the accountability as far as working with the coach, somebody who's kind of expecting to read that review. It's not, if I see a weekly review on a Wednesday instead of a Sunday evening, I kind of realize there's going to be diminishing returns there. So a lot of times people react to that, wanting to share that, and then also we can talk about how, because we have that ongoing ledger of what you're expecting to do, we can continually go back to it and see how you're doing and see whether or not it's you're able to stick to your plan, and if not, why. So I also want to embrace the idea that sometimes the plans can change, but having a baseline plan, I think, is really what's most impactful for people from the start, going from no plan at all to having something they're shooting for on a weekly basis.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing some of those nuggets and the process and the rhythms. I think you hit on lots of key ideas and the accountability and how it can really be a blend that works for, a sort of, you've got the basic ingredients, and each recipe can be a little bit different for each client, but in general, a lot of the same ingredients tend to help folks move forward. So awesome. Thank you for sharing. And I do want to keep these brief. We've heard from our coaches that they like to keep them bite-sized, where they can get to know us. But if folks want to talk to you more, want to have a Skype with you, or just chat with you on Slack, what are some good ways for folks to reach you?
Well, certainly Slack. I don't post too frequently, but I'm definitely reading a lot as far as what other coaches are posting about, so that you can directly message me there. On Skype, I'm Robert.Filardo, and on Twitter, I'm Robert Filardo. So some kind of combination of my first and last name is probably where you can reach me. So.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Well, we'll link to you, I think, in what we send out as well. But thanks so much for taking the time this morning. We both had to do some mental gymnastics to find the time that worked for both of us. So appreciate that. And we'll be in touch. Thanks, Rob.
Take care, Kendra. Thank you.